Okay, this is the study guide for the Chapter 14 test. We're going to run through here real quick. I bring this up so we can see a little bit better. And increase the size. Okay, starting with the Renaissance, and again, you received this in class today, but we want to make sure everybody has the correct answers so they can study properly. The Renaissance started in Italy. Why did it start in Italy? It was a center of trade. Remember, Italy sits right in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, so ships coming out of there all the time, bringing the new ideas that fueled the Renaissance. What ancient societies were they rediscovering, the Greeks and the Romans? What was humanism? Humanism was the idea or the philosophy that people could do great things. Some famous writers and artists in the Renaissance. There's a lot you could choose from, but Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo. As far as writers, Shakespeare. And who was Gutenberg and what did he contribute to literature? Gutenberg invented the printing press, the movable type printing press. So I'll just write printing press. And how did this contribute to literature? It made books more affordable and easier to get. So books easier to get. The Reformation was trying to fix which institution? The church, the Catholic Church specifically, but define Protestant. Protestant was someone that was protesting against the church. Protesting against the church. Who was Martin Luther? Martin Luther was a monk, and he, if you remember, he nailed his objections to the church, the things he thought were wrong with the church, to the wall or to the door of his church in Germany. What changes happened within the church at the Council of Trent? The Catholic Church decided to be more concerned about faith and religion and less concerned about political power. So let's say more faith, less politics. Scientific revolution were a series of events that led to modern science. Used observation and logical thinking. The church's reaction to this was negative. It went against what the church taught. The church was all about, and religion in general was all about faith, having faith and just believing things. And science, this new style of science, was all about observation and logical thinking, being able to measure things. Galileo was a scientist who said the earth revolved around the sun. And if you remember, he was arrested by the church for saying that because it was opposite of what the church believed. The church believed that the earth was the center of the universe, not the sun. And who made observations about gravity? That was Sir Isaac Newton. He was a great scientist and mathematician of the scientific revolution. Okay, exploration. The reasons to find new lands. There was a number of reasons why explorers were trying to find new lands. One thing that was driving people was money. If you could find new ways to get to Asia, for example, you could make a lot of money. One was just curiosity, wanting to know what was out there. Another was to claim new lands for the different countries of Europe. Okay, switching over to the backside. Of course, all this exploration, the main goal was to find a way to get to Asia. Everybody was in competition with Italy. Italy controlled the land route to Asia, so people were trying to find another route by water. And the first way they tried to do this was to go around the tip of Africa, and eventually Christopher Columbus tried sailing west to find another route. The big three European empires that colonized the New World being North and South America, were England, France, and Spain. Now there were some other countries that colonized as well, like Portugal, the Netherlands, but most of the colonization happened by England, France, and Spain. Okay, let's see. Political change, the revolutions that occurred during this time. A lot of this change was driven by the Enlightenment. And the Enlightenment used logical thought and reasoning to think about or question the politics of the time, to question the church. John Locke was one of the philosophers that said that between a ruler and his people there should exist a contract. And the contract basically says that as long as the ruler is taking care of the people and treating them fairly, he gets to remain in power. The people allow him to remain in power. But if he abuses his power, the people have the right to get rid of him. 3 countries that saw their leaders violate the agreement, resulting in revolution. It was England first, the English Civil War. Then America, when they had the American Revolution to become their own country, free of England. And then finally France, the French Revolution, where the Third Estate rose up against the First and Second Estates. The man who took over Europe, declaring himself emperor, Napoleon, became the leader of France after the Revolution and led France's armies all throughout Europe until he was defeated in Russia. The council that met to avoid one country becoming more powerful in Europe was the Congress of Vienna. They met in Vienna, Austria, and they redrew the boundaries of Europe to make sure no country became too big. Okay, and finally the Industrial Revolution. What countries contributed to, or what industries contributed to the speed of this time period? One was farming. People went from living out in the country and working on farms, which was where most of the people of Europe lived at this time. But as machinery is made available to make farming easier for big farms, the people had no reason to stay and work on the farms because machines were doing their job, so they started to move to the cities. And then factories that make cloth were called textile factories. Those were some of the first factories that appeared during the Industrial Revolution, and one of the first places people went to work. Factories, what were they like to work in? People had to work long hours. They were dangerous, especially for the little kids that had to work there. Low pay, long hours. I mean, they were loud, they were dirty. People worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and it paid so little that they had to bring their kids to work with them, and the kids worked as well. And then finally, what changes happened after the Industrial Revolution? Women went through the suffrage movement, SUFFERAGE, and that was their fight for the right to vote. It happened in England and then in the United States. And another change that happened after the Industrial Revolution is that a new economic system came into play called capitalism, where the goal was to make a profit, to make money, where individuals would own businesses and investors would invest in those businesses, all with the goal of making a profit. Okay, so hopefully this gives you the information you need to make sure that your study guide is correct, and now you should be studying this to get ready for our test on Wednesday.